It is July 2018. More than 6 months have gone by of this year, and we've already gotten a good chance to take a look at either the PlayStation 4 Pro or the Xbox One X. Well, which one should you buy between just these two consoles? Let's find out right after this. Welcome back to Tech Savvy Buyer, guys. So, as I promised, today we're going to go through real quickly which one of these consoles that you guys should definitely pick up over the other. So, let's just take this with a straight shotgun approach, and what I mean by that is I'm going to go through the list of pros and cons for each specific console as quick as possible. I won't go into too much detail on each one, only because I've already put out dedicated reviews for each console. All in all, both consoles offer fantastic value, have great ecosystems to go in, and really just comes down to a matter of preference. If you already own the original PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One and you're just looking for an upgrade, which one do you think is getting you your better money's worth? So with that, let's start off with the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X, real quickly, off the bat, the pros on this system. So in this system, for $500, you get a system that's got the most powerful graphical processing unit available on the market today for consoles, okay? You've got a decent game library. You've got a much better backwards compatibility list where you can play a lot of games from the Xbox 360, even some original Xbox games, not the Xbox One, but the original Xbox games that came out. I think there was originally 13 titles, and that list keeps continuing to grow. Some people are really fond of the controller. Personally, I like the Sony controller more, so I'm going to kind of leave that as not really a factor of a pro or a con, but it's there, take it as you see fit. There's a pretty small selection of exclusive titles, but for some people, those selections do make it worth buying the console in itself. So you've got Halo, you've got Halo, Forza, and Gears of War series as well. You've got an Ultra HD disc drive in there, which is great because a lot of people are trying to get into watching some of the digital media content off of a disc versus having to download it, just because it does take up a lot of space. The Xbox One X does come with 1 terabyte hard drive built in, and I think it also has an option to come out with a 2 terabyte one at some point. I've heard rumors, it's not out yet. So I'm not saying it is. The other thing with the Xbox One X, so you get Xbox Play Anywhere, which means you can take games that you're playing on your PC and on your Xbox and kind of interchange game saves and progress. So if you have a gaming PC by any chance, you can always hop back on there and continue your gaming on that, or a gaming laptop. So basically you get the title of the game that you're paying for once on 2 platforms, which is great. You have Xbox Game Pass, which is their subscription service. It's kind of like the Netflix of games. It is only $10 a month, which is much cheaper than the one that the PS4 Pro offers, and I think that gives it kind of an edge on why you should consider this over that. So obviously it's got a lot more native 4K support. So the Xbox One X does offer native 4K support for a lot more titles than the PS4 Pro does. Moving over to the PS4 Pro. All right, so here, what do you get for $400 exactly? So I'll tell you what, the number one thing that PlayStation 4 users get a lot more than the Xbox users do is a list of exclusive games. So let's take out the AAA titles. Let's take out all the games that are cross-platform that you can play on a Switch, that you can play on the Xbox, you can play on the PS4 Pro. There are still hundreds of games that you can play on the PS4 that you cannot play on the Xbox One X, or any Xbox for that matter. And I think that is one really, really differentiating factor, which definitely is a hands down win for the PS4 Pro. If you're one of those people looking to play like a single player campaign, not so much multiplayer, but you like having those games where you can sit down, play for hours and hours and hours, this is definitely home for you because you're getting a lot of depth with any of these titles that you see here, from Bloodborne to Neo to Detroit Become Human to God of War and Uncharted series. There's just plenty of games to go to. You'll never have a moment where you don't have a game to play, or you go down to Best Buy or a Walmart or any place you go and get your games from and you can't figure out what to buy because there's plenty of games to choose from. The other really cool thing about the PS4 Pro is that it's got VR support. So, now it's becoming a thing to get into VR. You've had the Oculus come out, you've had all these mixed reality headsets that Microsoft is pushing through different vendors like Lenovo and HP and all these other companies that are starting to dive into it. The PlayStation Pro is the only console right now, aside from the PlayStation 4 itself, that actually supports PSVR. So you can actually try and dabble in VR, and it's not even that expensive. With the recent price drop, you can get in as little as $200 to go and see if that's something you enjoy. Now, VR is not for everyone, but for the people who are interested in VR or who have played VR on their PCs and other things, that's something you can definitely get on here. The other real cool thing about the PlayStation 4 Pro is that it offers remote play capabilities. And, you know, I did a touch on that in my last video review of the PS4 Pro, but basically you can play your PS4 Pro wirelessly, basically stream the game onto a PS Vita if you have one of those. Although I wouldn't recommend, I didn't like that experience, to be honest. The controls and everything just kind of sucked. But playing it on a MacBook, playing it on a Windows PC, that's pretty amazing. So as long as you're connected to decent internet and you guys are plugging in everything on the same network, even on different networks. So for example, I was traveling to Mexico a couple weeks ago for work, and I had my PlayStation 4 Pro hooked up to my TV on internet, and I fortunately was able to get good internet at the hotel, and I was actually able to stream playing, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn was the one I was playing on my laptop while I was traveling. So it was a very good experience, although I did only stream it at 720p is the highest resolution you can get. So it does kind of take down on the resolution. You're not going to get the full HD resolution or the 4K resolution offerings. Which brings me to my next point, resolutions on this. So this is pretty graphically powerful, not as powerful as this guy, but it does a really, really good job. I mean, I challenge anyone to come and take a look at any one of these games I have here, including Detroit Become Human or God of War, and tell me that any of those games do not look good or do not look like they're modernized graphics. I mean, I would say that some of those games may even look better than some of the native 4K games that run on the Xbox One X, and here's why. Because resolution is not everything. You know, you've got your character models, you've got all the artistic drawings and stuff that are implemented inside these games too. And of course there's CGI elements in some of these games that kind of add to that effect. But it just goes to show you that developers are really taking advantage of all the different hardware that's offered under the PS4 Pro's hood. And the reason for that is because most of these games that have those outstanding graphics or that really solid value are made by Sony themselves. And that's where the Xbox One X has its biggest con. It does not have enough of its own studios to develop exclusive games, while the PS4 Pro has a very big thumbs up on this one. They have a ton of studios that they go to for their games, and they just do a really, really good job at developing their games. So you've got your VR support, you got your remote play, you got PS Plus. Oh, and that brings me, so both of these consoles, if you play online and you play in multiplayer, you get PS Plus with the with the PlayStation 4 Pro, or you can get Xbox Live Gold with the Xbox One. Now, if you had asked me this question 2 years ago or a year ago, the games that would come out on Xbox Live Gold for free that you get, so it's basically every 2 weeks you get a list of free games. Some are for the Xbox 360 and some are Xbox One, meaning they're Xbox 360 titles that you could play on the Xbox One. The Xbox One, hands down, had a lot better games that would come out. There were pretty good AAA titles. Now, with the recent 6 to 8 months of games that have been coming out, they're kind of just plain, you know, they're not that attractive. They're not something that would be waiting for the day to go by so that I can get access to download it because I read online that there's a new title coming out. However, on the PS4 Pro and the PS Plus, there are a lot of good games. In fact, I think the last month that just passed, you could have gotten Call of Duty Black Ops 3 for free, which still to this day is about 40 bucks or 30 bucks at a GameStop near you. For whatever it's worth, I do think that the PS4 Pro does have a much better PS Plus game subscription service, you want to call it, where you get some games for free. Actually, it's not a subscription service, that is the PS Now, which, by the way, so PlayStation Now versus Xbox Game Pass. The Xbox Game Pass is 100 times better than the PS4's PlayStation Now. The reason is that the selection of titles, not as good, mostly PS3 titles, so there's a lot, that's the only way you can actually get backwards compatibility. That's another ding for this. Backwards compatibility, non-existent on the PS4 Pro. You cannot take a PS3 game or a PS2 game and pop it in and play it, which is very sad considering last generation, the PS3, when it first came out, the 60 gigabyte models, you were able to put in a PlayStation 2 disc in there and actually run the game on the PS3. So it's good for those people who collect games and like to go back to a previous generation and play stuff. Personally, I don't think I've ever played a previous generation game once the new generation comes in. I kind of play them out so much that I'm done with them. But once in a while, I guess it's not something that I would aim on as a specific value of proposition for a console that I'd look for. So it's great that the Xbox One X offers a lot of backwards compatibility, but I think today's generation and people who are probably around my age would prefer more to play some of the newer games and play some of the better looking games and not have to still stay 10 years later and playing those old games. Like I said, those are mostly for nostalgic purposes, not something that you'd want to be gaming on anyways. Overall value proposition on the PS4 Pro at $400, and there's plenty of sales that always go on that knock this down 50 bucks, which kind of makes it in the affordable range. When you look at the PS4 Slim, which is around $299, and the PS4 Pro at $349.99. So that extra $50 gets you a much more powerful processor than the previous one, and it gets you a better GPU at 4.2 teraflops. Of course, on the Xbox One X. It is for $249.99 is the cost of an Xbox One S, and the One X is double that. Is this worth it at double it? Honestly, I would have to say a big no. For double the price of a One S, it's not worth all the stuff that's being offered in this, because the One S has almost all the good features that the Xbox One X does, all that gaming capability, the Ultra HD disc, you know, the Game Pass, the Play Anywhere, all that stuff is available on the One S. You just don't get as much power or the native 4K offering in it as well. And of course, most people don't know, and you guys can go and look this up, the Xbox One S does upscale to 4K. So it was kind of their response to the PS4 Pro. Granted, it wasn't as good. That's why they came out with Project Scorpio or the One X. But I think it's solid value for its price if you're looking to save some money. So if you're looking to save money, 220 to 250 bucks, you can easily get an Xbox One S, although that's separate from this conversation that I'm doing with you guys today. So what is the verdict? The verdict is the PS4 Pro, hands down. You got better games, you got VR support, and you've got better pricing on this as well. And it really comes down to when people buy a console, you want an experience where you can just plug it in, play on your TV, and not have to deal with all the stuff on a PC or, you know, something else that you possibly game on. What would be the one thing that you look at the most? It has to be the library of games. And I think just for the reason alone, you know, there are a bunch of different pros and cons I mentioned about each one, but the one that really kills it is the games. When you sit down and you want to play a good library of games, the PS4 Pro is where your money is at. So I think, again, in July 2018, my verdict stays the same. The PS4 Pro is definitely what you want to buy. I think in this generation, Sony has totally beaten the lights out of Microsoft with the better games and the better timing of their system upgrades. Now that we're coming close to the era of the next generation of consoles, where we already know that Xbox is working on Project Scarlet, we know that PlayStation is coming up with PS5 in a couple years' time, it just really comes down to which system has better games. And guys, it's right here at $399.99 US dollars plus tax. This is the console that I would highly recommend anyone to go ahead and buy. If you get a discount on it, even better. Heck, if you can find this for sale used on Craigslist or on eBay and you can save yourself a couple $100 or 50 bucks or whatever, go with that option as well. It's definitely worth it. You're not going to lose out on it. But again, for those of you guys who just joined in or fast forwarded through, verdict is the PS4 Pro, buy. Xbox One X, only get it if you're really a graphics snob and you just want to play all those AAA titles that are cross-platform, and you can play it. If you're looking for exclusive on Xbox, go with an Xbox One S. I just don't think that there's enough value in Xbox One X to upgrade over a One S. I think both of them are solid consoles for what they offer, but it comes down to which one's got the better games, and here we are. So until then, guys, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. Of course, it's all subjective, right? So you guys have your own opinions, I've got mine. This is what I think makes sense. And of course, you're welcome to disagree or agree. Let me know in the comments below. And if you guys haven't seen my video reviews on the PlayStation 4 Pro or on the Xbox One X, I'll link those in the description as well, so you can go and catch up on those. Of course, if you like this video, drop a thumbs up. It does help my channel grow. And if you aren't already subscribed to this channel or you're just new, consider subscribing, as it does help this channel grow and it'll give me more time to make better content for you. I appreciate it, guys. Until then, see you all on the next one.